Hi, I'm Doc John from Ability Doc. I want to talk to you about how I began to work with some of the best track and field athletes in the world, multiple time Olympians, how I got there. About 8 or so years ago, I got involved personally in Olympic weightlifting. I competed in the sport of weightlifting as a senior athlete and had a little bit of success, and success more on a personal level. I was able to get to a double body weight clean and jerk and a body weight and a half snatch. So like a 270 pound snatch and about a 360 pound clean and jerk. So I got pretty decent. During Olympic weightlifting, a friend of mine, or soon to be one of my best friends, Dane Miller, had an up and coming group of weightlifters and some of the other early members of Garage Strength, and many of them who now are some of the best athletes in the world, but then were just kids. At one of these meets when I met Dane, he had mentioned something to me about an injury that he had when he was a shot putter, and I made a joke about I'm a much better doctor than I am weightlifter. And kind of from then on forward, he and I started to talk more, get together a bit. We would pass each other at weightlifting meets because Mobility Doc was up and coming, and so was Garage Strength, and so was Earth Fed Muscle at the time. And the three of us would be at meets, and often I was helping with Team USA, assisting or volunteering as part of the medical staff, and I would be helping him or his athletes. So after the 2016 Olympics, I was then given the opportunity by Dane and Garage Strength to work with Alex Rose and Sam Mattis. And I believe it was at that time that I met the two of them. Dane and Garage Strength were in the old barn, which was an actual barn. You have to picture chickens, goats. I could pick up eggs, pierogies, milk from local farmers. It was true farm, right? He wasn't necessarily making any of these things, but he had a refrigerator, and I was still actually training and weightlifting at that time, but not taking myself as seriously. So I went to the old Garage Strength barn and met with Alex Rose and Sam Mattis. Both are discus throwers. Sam is one of the best American discus male throwers of all time. He ultimately went to the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo. Alex Rose throws for Samoa. He is the best Pacific Islander, I believe, in like international athletic history, something to that effect. I believe he's finished better in world events than any Pacific Islander in all events, but he definitely went to the 2016 Olympics. He went to the 2021 Olympics. He was able to carry the torch in one, carry his country's flag in the other. Pretty awesome stuff, but they quickly became two of my most favorite people I have ever met. Dayton wanted me to perform an assessment. At Mobility Doc, we have our own special assessment for mobility, and mobility being stability, strength, and flexibility. Is someone able to move the way that they're trying to move? We do testing for the entire body. Some of it's standing, some of it's sitting, some of it's laying down. We go from like foot to fingers, and we figure out in what way does this athlete not move correctly? Where are the asymmetries? Where's their friction? How can we get them to squeeze out a better performance in the next, 6 months, year, sometimes immediately? So I did this Mobility Doc assessment with Alex Rose and Sam Mattis. Very comically, Alex at that time was incredibly tight. I'm going to put it out there and say that Alex used to not prioritize mobility work whatsoever. So much so that when I tested his tree trunk-like Thor of Ragnar godlike thighs, when I tested his strength, he would spasm. Like he was strong, but he couldn't really put out strength without spasming. So it was one of my more memorable moments with him. So I tested Sam and Alex, developed programs for them. I was optimizing for his ability and their ability to throw a discus. And it seemed to work. It seemed to work really well. It wasn't just me. Obviously, it's a lot of them. And then they have their coach, Dane, and strength coach also being Dane, and throughout their lifetime, other influences. But I've played my part in a very significant way since about 2016. In 2020, I would have hoped to have gone to the Olympics with them, but obviously this was not going to happen because of a worldwide pandemic. But fortunately, they got to go, very fortunately. However, since that time, I have made a very strong effort to be at more important key events for their sport, and generally speaking, for other sports as well. I got to go to 2022 Outdoor Championships and Worlds, both in Eugene, Oregon. And it was there, and by that time, that I was working with a handful of other athletes, some on a more serious level and some on a little bit more of a supervisory, superficial kind of level, meaning I would have them do mobility programs. There's a MDFit mobility program that I have about 7 or so Olympians in track and field using. I made it so that way anyone could subscribe to MDFit, and everyone who subscribes to MDFit gets to do the same thing that the Olympians are doing. Shortly after Tokyo, I began to work a little bit with CC, and just before the Tokyo Olympics, Rudy Winkler. If I dive into Rudy a little bit, so Rudy has a different coach, but he is very close with all the guys at Garage Strength, men and women. And Rudy is also one of my most favorite people I've ever met. He is one of the most disciplined and powerful and funny people I've had the privilege of spending time with. And it was really cool because it was at that point when I met Rudy that he was like, hey, I've already been to an Olympics. I've been doing this for a while. I need to be able to warm up more efficiently. I can no longer just throw my hammer to warm up. I need to be able to do something so I can throw less and be equally, if not more, warmed up. So that way when I go out onto the field, I am saving all of my potential for the throws that count. I'm not wasting them through extra warm-up. So I created a program for Rudy, which is also accessible to anyone, to warm up more efficiently. And it is to this day what Rudy uses before he goes and throws. And in that time of working together, Rudy has gone now to 2 Olympics. He will hopefully be going to this next Olympics, but it's looking good because Rudy has the American record. He is ranked, I believe, 3rd currently in the world for his most recent throws. We're going to Worlds together momentarily. This week, I'm going to be meeting with him in Budapest, or Budapest, depending on where you're from. And so in that time of getting to know Rudy, getting to know what he needed, I got to understand hammer better and understand how a hammer thrower needs to warm up. And from that, I started more recently getting to work with Alex Young, who's also quickly becoming one of my favorites. I met Alex a while ago through video chat because Rudy was staying with Alex for a little bit of time. And memorably, Alex was shirtless, trying to find his chair, which Rudy had stolen to move outside on his deck. And I gather that there were only so many chairs. So now I'm actually getting to program for Alex and do the same thing that I did for Rudy and the same thing that I've done for everyone. After Worlds in 2022, I began to work with Mustafa, who is now the current Egyptian national record holder, was in the 2020 Olympics, made it to the finals. He, after the Olympics, had low back pain, and he was having a hard time getting back into his training. He just really couldn't throw, and he missed part of his season, indoors, I believe, specifically. And so when he reached out to me, based off of me working with others, to consult with him remotely. So I literally got the opportunity from Bethlehem all the way to Cairo. I got to talk to him via electronics, face to face, and figure out his medical history, what he needed to do, and what he currently couldn't do. Created a program for him, got rid of that low back pain pretty quickly. He then, shortly after, not only started to compete, but he qualified for Worlds. He threw a personal record, and it became a new Egyptian national record. And I'll finally get to meet Mo in Budapest in like a week, which is pretty amazing because he has a great laugh and seems like a tremendous individual. And truthfully, I mean, we could probably just say, as a whole, the throwers that I've met, I haven't met a thrower I didn't like. Just a really great group of athletes, and just a lot of fun to be around. So that's how I began to work with athletes from outside of this world. Since then, when I went to 2022 Outdoor Championships back in Eugene just like a month ago, there were even more people I was working with. And now when I go to Worlds, all, again, on various levels, but I'm going to get to be a part of some of the health of 7 athletes, 3 from the US and the others from, I believe, 4 different countries. And admittedly, I would be full of crap if I didn't keep bringing it back to the fact that our goal is to be the place that helps people to never quit. I don't want anyone to ever have to stop. And our job is to not question why someone's doing what they're doing. Our job is to help them to keep doing what they're doing. It's to understand what they're doing, but not to tell them like, have you considered swimming? Or, just take an extensive break and then do nothing and see if that does something. Which often doing nothing does nothing, is what we say here. Mobility Doc has had the privilege of working with a number of athletes from all around the world at this point. I'm going to be in Budapest with 7 world level athletes, many of which who have been to the Olympics, a few of them already twice, and some of them most likely are going to be there for 3 consecutive Olympics, which is insane to be able to be that good for 12 years. And in their cases, like 12 very long years because you had a COVID year in there, But I work with the best in the world to bring it back to Mobility Doc. Our larger mission is for people to never stop moving. It also means we help you to just be where you need to be. So subscribe, like, share, help us to help more people. We can't do it without you. And if you want to work with us, you can. It doesn't matter where you are. We work with people, as I said, all around the world. You could have an online appointment with us. You can subscribe to MDFit, or you could purchase one of our MDRX programs. We'll provide all those links. But if you follow our socials, we will continue to give you as much free information as humanly possible. Thank you for watching. I look forward to sharing more with you in Budapest and wherever in the world I might be.